Hi, I'm Madeline from Sheen Slings, and this is my video review of the Baby Bjorn Move. So Bjorn have three carriers on the market at the moment, the Mini, the Move and the One. I'll talk more about them at the end, but the Move is their sort of in-between one. It works really well from newborn to about 6 to 8 months, as I'll chat about in a minute. So I'm going to take you through the features of this carrier, its pros and cons, how long it will last, how you use it, what I do and I don't like about it, and then I will talk about how it compares to the other models and also how it compares to other things on the market. So I hope you find it helpful. Stay tuned for all of those things. So the first thing to say about this carrier is the material it's made from. So this is the airflow version. It's made from this lovely airy mesh. I bring it close, and it's really incredibly soft. Feels like athletic wear. Really soft and squashy. You can see the panel is really designed to mould so it fits against baby. It's very different to the older style Bjorns, which were very robust and very solid. This really moulds against baby, and yeah, so really soft on all the bits for baby, but whereas much more stiffened and strengthened on the parts that fit the parent. So if we look at the waistband, you can see it's really much more stiff, and in fact these sections, even I think they must have metal in them or something. They're really rigid, so much stiff. And we've got this lumbar pad that attaches to a waistband, and then the whole thing attaches to these shoulder straps, which are on runners to adjust for different sizes, different size parents. And then the shoulder straps, you can see the shoulder straps are much more soft. They're still slightly stiffened compared to the panel, but much more soft and squishy so that they can shape to different body shapes. So that's how it feels, and it doesn't really, I mean, the stiffness means it doesn't fold down really small, but it's generally quite light, and it doesn't feel like it's really heavy when you're wearing it. The next thing to show you is the size adjustment system. So this carrier adjusts size in length. It doesn't really adjust in width, and again we'll talk about that in a bit when I put a doll in here. It does get a little wider as you go down, but not enough. It really adjusts in height and not so much in width. And so for this, they've got the centimetres and the inches mark, so you can just measure your child with a tape measure and get this set in the right place. And you can do that by literally pulling this whole contraption down. So you grab it here and pull it down. It's worth noting it's really stiff, and it's really stiff for a reason, so it doesn't move, doesn't give while you're wearing it. So if you do need to move it, you might need to sit down, put this on the surface, support the weight of it, and really just wrench. And you'll need to do that bit by bit as baby grows. So we talked through that part. Now I'll show you how it goes on. So you've kind of got two parts. You've got the panel for baby, and you've got the harness section for the parent. And the harness section for the parent goes on like a waistcoat. So when it's supplied, it actually comes with this completely unattached. So I clipped it in on one side here. You can see we've got a clip here. And then I slip this on like waistcoat, go around, find the other side, and slip the whole thing on, and just like a waistcoat, it fastens at the bottom, and you can see double clip, and it just plonks in, and really nice and secure and things. In fact, it's so secure I find it really hard to get back out. You've got to, do you see this is slightly raised at one edge? You've got to squash down the raised edge, and then it will come out. So not something that will undo by accident. So it feels really secure. Now I'll show you how I fit this to me. You can see we've got the lumbar pad. So what we really want to do is get this lumbar pad sat at the height that sits right in the lumbar. So pull it down, pull it up as you need it. And once you're there, you've got it in your lumbar pad, you can start tightening either side, so here and here, so that it sits centrally, and we get this nice and snug. Now if you have a very new little baby, be aware that baby's bum is going to sit here. So you might, depending on where this carrier sits on you and where your body geography, you might need to raise the waistband a little bit higher and have this sit just higher than your lumbar initially while baby is little. And then as they grow, you aim to bring this back to your lumbar weight. It will support the most weight. And really don't be afraid to get this nice and snug. The tighter you get this, the more support you're going to have going onto your more weight you're going to have being transferred onto your hips rather than your shoulders. And it is worth saying, compared to a lot of other carriers, this carrier is a little bit more shoulder heavy than others. But if you get this nice and snug and get that positioned in a place where it gives you the best fit, you will get the most weight onto your hips rather than on your shoulders. So now I've got that bit in the right place. I now want to deal with the shoulders. So you can see this is slightly loose for me, and I'm going to do that by literally pulling them out so that they pull through this pivot point, and you will see the connection part is attached on runners. So I can literally, yeah, there we go, pull it through on the runners until the strap lies flush on me. And I can do that on both sides, and then once I'm there, I can tighten this up. So now I am all tight. On sizing, it's worth noting, I am about a size 12 to 14. I haven't got a lot more to tighten out. So if you are very petite, you might struggle to get this carrier tight enough. Likewise, there's actually quite a lot of strap here, so it will go a lot wider, but I tend to find it's also on the length, and then to find this carrier fits smaller torsos quite well, but it won't fit the super petite, and it won't fit all the way the other way, but it does have you've got quite a lot, just maybe not the real extremes with this particular carrier. So I'm ready for my baby now. So one of the beauties of this carrier is that you set parent up completely separate to baby, and actually most of this setup, once it's now set up, I can now take this on and off, and I don't have to keep doing all those adjustments. So I need to do them at the beginning, and then it should all be set, and I'd only have to adjust it if my body shape changed a lot. So I am going to grab my baby, and I'm just going to cuddle them on my torso, and then I'm going to bring the panel up. Now the manual says to do it up on one side and thread baby in, which you can if you want to, but I tend to find it's a little bit gentler for baby rather than threading, just to bring the panel up around them. And now it's really super easy because we just colour match. Blue goes into the blue and clicks in. Red goes into the red and clicks in. And these buckles are really quite unique to Bjorn. You don't see them on other carriers. They sort of go up and over, and then to get back out you have to squeeze and lift them back up. And we can adjust if that is a little too tight, which it is. Adjust so that you're comfortable. And then this part is designed to come up over baby and clip in here. Now a couple of things on this. Bjorn called this the head support, and show all the imagery shows it up like so. In practice, I don't like supporting baby's head in this way because it limits the airflow. It's now much harder to see baby. I know this is really airflowy, breathable material, but still it is reducing airflow to my baby, which is not ideal, and I can't see them and I can't monitor their cues as easily. They do provide these to bring this even tighter, and the issue with that is particularly if baby has their head like so. If they are experiencing low oxygen, their instinct is to push back, but if we've tightened out these straps, they literally can't push back. So I really recommend any parents that I support with this carrier to fold this down. It's going to support the neck and head just as well folded down, but now we've got nice airflow, and baby doesn't have that pressure on their head. Often when babies don't like this sling or uncomfortable, it's because of that pressure on their head. So we can just fold it down either like this, or if you find it stays better, you can actually twist these the other way to help support that fold. The other thing I should say about this is I find these very high. I'm really struggling to get to them and really find it's quite squashy for my baby getting them up. That is a little bit of how it fits on me. I've seen on other parents these sit lower just because it sits differently on their bodies and it isn't as awkward for them and it isn't as awkward for their baby. And this is what I always really talk about, why it's important to try before you buy, because different carriers fit different bodies. This is really awkward for me and a bit of a deal breaker for me, but other people who find that this actually sits here, don't find it a problem, or sits more like there, don't find it a problem at all, and baby's still sitting as comfortably. So do try before you buy if you can. The other thing to note is you see we've got these cutouts, and Bjorn say these are for armholes for baby to sleep with their arms like that. Not sure I know any babies that's like sleeping like that. Most babies I've worked with like having their hands to soothe. So don't be afraid to overrule Bjorn and have their hands up by their face if they prefer, again for their comfort. And the last thing to note on their comfort is how they sit. So we have these seat adjusters. I like to start by loosening them off, and then I can run my hands in, make sure my baby is sat in a nice pelvic tuck, and then I can tighten them around, and I can spread that fabric and tighten them around to hold, and you can see we've got this nice wide spread seat. This is as wide as it goes, at least on this height setting. As you go up, it goes a little bit wider, but not much. And it is worth noting that this is quite a small doll. She's approximately the size of about a 6 to 8 week old. So as baby grows, you can imagine if you have a bigger baby in here, you're going to get to the point where you won't be able to support them as widely as you want to. And then it will just become, it's not dangerous, it will just become less comfortable for you and baby. So in general, I find this is a carrier that works really well from newborn, and generally where you will get to about 6 to 8 months. And then baby will feel too big, and it will feel less comfortable for baby, and it will feel less comfortable for you because more of them are sticking out of the carrier. And as we talked about, we can adjust in height, but we can't adjust the width to support them more. So at that point, usually parents will move on to another carrier. In terms of the positions you can do with this carrier, I've shown you the inwards. You can also do an outwards position, and you can do that literally by loosening these off and then taking baby out and popping them back in again. So it's incredibly easy, and that's really the pro of this carrier. It's lightweight, it's breathable, and it's incredibly easy. The main cons, as I've talked about, is just that there's a little bit of fiddliness to it, and it just doesn't grow as much as I want it to, so it's just not going to last, and it just doesn't fit everybody. Nothing fits everybody, but it doesn't fit as wide range of parents as I would like. Just depends on fitting you. So here we go, we've got the forward facing position, and then this goes up. Again, they can have their arms out of the armholes. This, depending again how it sits on you, can come very high. So just be careful that it doesn't feel like it's coming up too high, and adjust if you need to. If it is coming up too high, it can, yeah, there we go. And just adjust it if you need to, and so forth. There we go, so that's the forward facing position, and again, I can shift the hips and adjust as I need to. There we go. Yeah, so the main con is just that it doesn't last so long, and it doesn't offer a back carry, it doesn't offer a hip carry. It retails at £120, which is quite a lot for a carrier that has quite a short lifespan when you compare it to other carriers that last, do best in the first newborn to sort of 6 months, like the Isme or the Ergo Embrace. They retail at about £80. And are most similar to the Baby Bjorn Mini, which again is like this but even smaller, doesn't have the waist support, so tends to last even less long. So for me, my main con of this carrier is it just doesn't feel like such good value for money. For £120, when you compare it to something like the Becco Gemini, which does inwards, outwards, works from newborn to 15 months, also does hip, also does back, also is lightweight and made from air mesh material. It doesn't sort of compute for me, and fits a wider range of parents. It just doesn't compute for me. It's one of those, if it fits you really well, if you really like how the clips work, great, but definitely worth exploring other things such as the Becco Gemini or the Kahoo Baby, which will give you similar stuff but give you better longevity. So I hope that has been helpful. If you have any questions about this carrier at all, please do message me. Bye.